Interesting in your notes is how you're talking about the rotation, the Mag 7 overdone with the sell-off, but that the other group, like Micron and those memory names, maybe those were very vulnerable because they had run up. So it sort of feels like a Ferris wheel. I mean, which way are people supposed? Are they supposed to buy tech and not buy tech? You know, it's confusing, isn't it?
It's quite confusing. Every day we're sort of scratching our heads with the market action, and not only in the technology area, but other fields too. When the semiconductors are up, that money's coming from healthcare, it's coming from consumer staples. So certain stocks are up 7, other stocks are down 5. We think the key to investor success from this point is to take a longer term time horizon, not to try to get caught up in the day-to-day trading, and see where you think the market is now and where it'll be a year from now, and position yourself to take advantage of that. So you said, in the feed-in, that we like the hyperscalers, the mega cap stocks. Those stocks were in the news every day. Everybody loved them a year ago. They're now about a third cheaper. A number of them are selling at 18 to 22 times earnings, which is something they generally do not do or haven't done in a long time. We think the long-term outlook for the Microsofts, the Amazons, the Metas, the Apples are very good, but you're getting them at great prices. So turn down the volume about the day-to-day trading. Know that in the short term, they might go lower, but long-term, this is a very good opportunity to buy some great businesses at very attractive prices.
I mean, what did you think of yesterday when we saw Apple, which had its worst day in a year, or it was something like that, you know, based on the price hikes that we were seeing for the MacBook and the iPad, and they said there may be more to come, and Apple really sold off. That's a buying opportunity, do you think?
We believe so, though. It's a momentum market. It's on steroids. When people want to get into a stock, they're pushing it up hugely, like you saw in Micron yesterday, and when they went out, there's no bottom. We think if you take that longer perspective, Apple is going to be a strong player ultimately in AI. There's going to be a move toward the edge, which means you're going to have to buy more phones to use AI more efficiently. And we think that Apple, which has done quite well as a stock, just gave back, 3 months of return in one day. We'd use that as an opportunity. The news yesterday that they were raising prices is not terribly new or should not have been a surprise. We know that their prices have been going up in terms of what they pay for DRAM chips, and they're just flowing that a little bit through to customers. So we like Apple here. A week ago at 310 or 320, we were a little bit less enamored with it. At today's price, we think it's a very good place to start.
You said is more vulnerable. Are you not stepping in those kinds of names, even though they pulled back a little bit?
So we do own a number of semiconductor companies and have had a great run with them. We're very happy with that. We would not be throwing new money into them. Our expectations going forward for that group are much more cautious than they've been, simply because they've gotten a year, 2 years, 5 years worth of returns in less than 3 months and 6 months. So we don't think it's a great time to be throwing new money at it. If you have a number of those stocks, we'd be looking to scale back modestly on the days where the market is going crazy on the upside. Again, you're not going to know. The stocks are going to start to go down about 6 months before the business peaks, and you're only going to know that in hindsight. So we think it's prudent to be taking a little bit of the profits off the table in some of these stocks into the crazy up days. We wouldn't sell in a day like today, but rather when everybody's very excited, stocks are up 10 or 15% in a day, scale back a little bit if you think that stock price is full over the next 2 years. A lot of these stocks right now are selling at 20 and 50 times earnings based on earnings 2 and 3 years out. And generally, the reality is with semiconductor companies, it is a cyclical business. It's feast or famine. Right now, it's a feast. Eventually, it's going to slow down, and the stocks will go down well in advance of that.
So, okay, so you're telling me how your strategy now has to become long-term because nothing goes in a straight line, was what you wrote in your notes. And that makes sense. And people are sort of prepared for some volatility. You like some of those Mag 7 names. You mentioned Microsoft, Amazon, Meta, and Apple. Google was in there too. Do you like Google? Just for clarification.
We do like Google. Google is a great long-term business. And again, you're getting it at 22 times earnings. So, we have lots of discussions with investors over time. And the question we got for years is, why don't we buy more of these stocks? And we do own a lot of them already. But but they were paying 32 times earnings. Now that all of a sudden there are 20 times earnings and 18 times earnings, people are less interested because they've gone down. We think that's the opportunity. The flip side, as we said, is when you're buying something for 50 or 80 times earnings, we think that's a formula for not doing as well on the next 2 to 3 year basis. So we'd use the significant change in sentiment against the Mag 7 as an opportunity to build those companies. They are good long-term franchises, and you're getting them at attractive prices. And very importantly, there's a whole lot of market beyond technology. So the market is really focused on technology.
Friday saw a decline in semiconductor stocks. Western Digital's shares fell more than 7%, while Micron Technologies and SanDisk's fell more than 6%. Memory and storage companies were the biggest losers. Nvidia, AMD, Broadcom, Intel, and Marvell were among the chip makers that saw a decline. Following its projection announcement of $15 billion in additional data center revenue, Qualcomm also withdrew, returning some of the gains from the previous session. Lam Research and Applied Materials both saw declines of more than 3% among manufacturers of semiconductor equipment. The reason for the decline in semiconductor equities was worries that growing memory costs might have an impact on the entire computer sector, reducing margins and reducing demand. In order to counteract rising memory costs, Apple increased the prices of certain of its goods, which led to the sell-off. Concerns that memory chip makers' pricing power may eventually affect customer demand if increasing component costs are continued to be passed through, are heightened by Microsoft's price increases on its current generation Xbox consoles. A New York Times article about a possible postponement of OpenAI's anticipated IPO also exerted pressure on sentiment. A delayed IPO may indicate that valuations are becoming more difficult to defend, as the AI developer is regarded as a bellwether of the AI trade. What more you should know. The development of artificial intelligence has greatly benefited memory businesses, with Micron stock driving up the semiconductor industry. The company's impressive third-quarter earnings, optimistic forecast, and higher-than-anticipated margins supported the idea that memory chip makers have great pricing power and strong demand. Micron's business strategy is centered on locking clients into long-term contracts in an effort to shield itself from the boom-bust memory cycle. In early 2023, just before the artificial intelligence, AI revolution began to gain traction, Nvidia's market value was $360 billion. Since then, the business has increased its market capitalization to $4.8 trillion by selling millions of its graphics processing units, GPUs, for data centers, which are the main processors used in AI training and inference tasks. However, according to one of Wall Street's most used valuation criteria, Nvidia stock is still inexpensive despite a 13-fold growth in value over the past 3 years. Here's why the stock might actually double from this point on. With its H100 GPU, which was based on its Hopper architecture, Nvidia began to dominate the market for AI data center chips in 2022. Since then, the business has introduced Blackwell and Blackwell Ultra GPUs, the latter of which, in some combinations, may outperform the H100 by up to 50 times. The most popular AI chips in the market right now are Blackwell Ultra GPUs, but Nvidia is set to expand its lead with the release of its new Vera Rubin system in the second half of this year. It consists of a number of upgraded networking components, the Vera Central Processing Unit, CPU, and the Rubin GPU. According to Nvidia, the platform's strength allows developers to train AI models with 75% fewer GPUs than Blackwell. Additionally, Vera Rubin can cut the cost of inference tokens, which are the words, pictures, and symbols produced by an AI model in response to a query, by as much as 90%. To put it another way, Nvidia's new method could significantly lower the cost of using AI, which might increase the profitability of companies like OpenAI and Anthropic and increase demand for processors. Nvidia CEO Jensen Huang stated that every frontier AI business plans to use Vera Rubin at launch during a conference call with investors on May 20th. This was untrue for the Blackwell platform. He therefore anticipates that it will be significantly more successful than its predecessor. During its fiscal year 2026, which concluded on January 26th, Nvidia made $215.9 billion in total revenue, a 65% increase over the previous year. Of total revenue, $193.7 billion came from its data center division, which expanded by 68%. In the first quarter of fiscal 2027, which concluded on April 26th, both of those growth rates increased. The company's total revenue of $81.6 billion and data center revenue of $75.2 billion were year-over-year increases of 85% and 92% respectively, demonstrating the tremendous growth in AI-related hardware sales. Nvidia is able to control prices since there is currently more demand than supply for GPUs, which greatly increases its profit margins. Wall Street therefore anticipates that the company's generally accepted accounting principles, GAAP, earnings would rise by 91% to $9.36 per share during fiscal 2027, which might have very significant effects on the stock price. One of the most used indicators for value on Wall Street is the price-to-earnings, PE ratio. Investors are essentially paying $10 for every $1 in the company's earnings if a stock has a PE ratio of 10. Higher PE ratios are typically associated with faster-growing companies since investors are ready to pay more for their earnings because, in theory, those companies will return their investment more quickly. For this reason, the more diverse S&P 500 trades at a PE ratio of 25.2, while the NASDAQ 100 index, which is composed of high-growth technology companies, trades at a PE ratio of 34.4. Recently, Nvidia's PE ratio dropped to 30.09, the lowest since 2019. Furthermore, compared to its average PE of 71.2 for that 7-year period, it was a significant bargain. To put it another way, for Nvidia's stock to trade in accordance with its long-term average PE ratio, it would need to more than double. The company's stock is trading at a forward PE ratio of just 21.5 based on its estimated earnings for fiscal 2027, as I previously mentioned. I'm not suggesting that will occur immediately. This implies that its PE would only increase to 43, which would still be far below its long-term average, even if its stock doubled over the course of the next 6 or 7 months. No matter how you look at it, Nvidia's stock appears incredibly inexpensive at the moment, especially in light of what may be the company's largest product launch to yet. Therefore, it might be a fantastic purchase at this time. Investors are now fully aware of Nvidia's level of success. With a $4.8 trillion market valuation, what was formerly a PC gaming company has grown into a major artificial intelligence, AI corporation. The world's most valuable firm is this one. Nvidia shares are up 6.7% so far in 2026 and have surged 944% over the last 5 years, despite being 15.6% off their peak as of June 23rd. The boat hasn't passed you by. One reason to purchase this top AI stock today is as follows. The management group at Nvidia may be the most visible leadership team on the planet. It is headed by Jensen Huang, who has been Nvidia's senior executive since the company was founded in 1993. Given their front-row seats in the business, it seems obvious that the market pays close attention to these CEOs in order to comprehend how the AI environment will change. Colette Kress, the chief financial officer, recently provided investors with an amazing forecast that has the power to convert doubters into believers. AI infrastructure spending is on track to reach $3 trillion to $4 trillion annually by the end of this decade, she stated during Nvidia's fiscal 2027 first quarter earnings call. It's important to emphasize that this prognosis is for the year rather than the entire year. According to Goldman Sachs' study, spending is predicted to reach $765 billion this year. A massive 358% growth rate in just 3 years is required to achieve the halfway point of Kress's forecast of $3.5 trillion in spending in 2029. The market for graphics processing units, GPUs, in data centers is virtually monopolized by Nvidia. Selling the hardware and software required for training and inference, it is essentially at the center of the AI infrastructure explosion. The company's newest Vera Rubin platform, designed for agentic AI, will begin shipping in the third quarter, and demand for its Blackwell architecture is strong. It is wise for investors to doubt Kress's prospects. She is motivated to offer optimistic commentary because it could boost the price of Nvidia's stock. However, it's hard to dispute the enormous amount of money being spent. If Kress's prediction is accurate, Nvidia will continue to see enormous demand. Because of this, investors ought to think about purchasing the company at this time when it has a strong forward price-to-earnings ratio of 23.8. the company is in the best position to profit from the AI spending boom. Sell-side analysts predict that between fiscal 2026 and fiscal 2029, Nvidia's sales will increase at a compound annual growth rate of 45.6%. The general belief is that throughout the same period, adjusted diluted earnings per share will rise at an annual clip of 48.8%. Such fundamental benefits have the potential to boost the stock. Numerous investors have declared the company to be in a bubble when Nvidia began its phenomenal surge at the beginning of 2023. Those investors were repeatedly shown to be mistaken. Some people may still believe that Nvidia is currently in a bubble, but I would contend that the opposite is true. I believe it is undervalued. I believe that investors are undervaluing the potential of the upcoming Rubin upgrade cycle later this year, which has the potential to propel Nvidia stock to previously unheard of heights. Nvidia's newest architecture will be released later this year. The Rubin chip architectures promise a tenfold decrease in artificial intelligence, AI inference costs, and a fourfold reduction in training costs, building upon an already remarkable Blackwell architecture. The AI hyperscalers actually hear that they can gain a significant performance boost at the same cost by running the same number of GPUs, which sounds impressive from a cost-saving perspective. These advancements are not free, regardless of how these units are utilized. Just upgrading to a new chip generation will raise income because Rubin chips are roughly 25% more expensive than Blackwell chips. Although there are other forces at work that will help increase Nvidia's sales and profits over the course of the upcoming year. A total of $650 billion in data center capital expenditures were announced for 2026 by the top AI hyperscalers. Although this cohort hasn't released estimates for 2027, Nvidia anticipates spending to exceed $1 trillion. That is a significant increase, and when the actual data center buildings get closer to completion, it will probably be used more extensively for computing equipment. Wall Street experts support the idea that Nvidia might experience enormous growth as a result of an upgrade cycle and a growing market. They project an 81% increase in revenue for the remainder of the current fiscal year 2027. That percentage is 41% for FY 2028. That's a good growth rate for a firm the size of Nvidia, even though it's not as quick as FY 2027's. Additionally, don't be shocked if Nvidia's growth rate is even quicker than this because analysts have typically underestimated it. Nvidia's stock has priced in very little growth beyond this fiscal year, despite the fact that the upcoming year is clearly going to be good. This absolutely refutes the idea that Nvidia is in a bubble and makes buying Nvidia stock currently a no-brainer because it is actually rather cheap.